So decades ago, not years ago, I set out to find a place in the world where I could observe dolphins underwater and to try to crack the code of their communication system.
What if everything we thought we knew about dolphins was wrong? For years, scientists believed dolphins were smart animals that make simple sounds and playful noises in the ocean. But now, artificial intelligence is revealing something far more shocking. Dolphins may not just be communicating, they may be speaking in structured patterns, using names, remembering friends for decades, and even showing signs of culture. Marine biologists are struggling to explain what the AI is uncovering, and some are completely speechless. If dolphins truly have a hidden language that we are only now beginning to understand, then what else have we been missing all along? Join us to find out. The secret intelligence of dolphins. Before anyone can understand what artificial intelligence discovered about dolphins, they first need to understand something shocking about these animals. Most people grow up believing dolphins are simply cute sea creatures that love to play, swim beside boats, and perform tricks at marine parks. People see them as friendly animals with permanent smiles and playful personalities, but that picture is far from the truth. The version most people know is soft, simple, and incomplete. The real dolphin is something far more extraordinary. For decades, scientists have studied dolphins and slowly realized they may possess one of the most advanced minds in the animal world. Some researchers have even argued that dolphins should not be grouped with ordinary non-human animals at all. Their intelligence, emotions, communication, memory, and social behavior appear so complex that they continue to challenge everything humans thought they knew about animal consciousness. One of the most important discoveries about dolphins came from something called the mirror self-recognition test. At first, the test sounds simple. A mark is placed on an animal's body, somewhere it normally cannot see. Then, the animal is shown a mirror. If the animal uses the mirror to inspect the mark, it proves something incredible. It understands that the reflection is itself and not another creature. That level of self-awareness is extremely rare in nature. Only a very small number of species have ever passed this test. Great apes have done it. Elephants have done it. Magpies have done it. Dolphins have done it too. What makes this even more surprising is how early dolphins show this ability. Young bottlenose dolphins can recognize themselves in mirrors when they are only around 7 months old. Human children usually do not pass the same test until they are much older. This suggests dolphins develop self-awareness at an incredibly early stage of life. But self-recognition is only the beginning. Scientists discovered that dolphins can also understand syntax. In laboratory studies, dolphins learned the difference between commands based entirely on word order. They understood that bringing a ball to a hoop is different from bringing a hoop to a ball. This showed that dolphins could recognize that changing the order of symbols changes the meaning of a sentence. That ability is deeply connected to language understanding. Researchers also found signs that dolphins possess metacognition. This means they appear aware of their own uncertainty. In experiments, dolphins sometimes showed behavior that suggested they understood when they did not know the correct answer to a problem. That kind of thinking is considered highly advanced because it involves reflecting on one's own knowledge. Their brains also help explain these astonishing abilities. Bottlenose dolphins have brains much larger than scientists would normally expect for animals of their size. Their brains contain deeply folded neocortices and highly developed regions connected to emotion, decision-making, sensory processing, and social awareness. These are areas strongly linked to intelligence and emotional complexity. This means dolphins are not simply reacting to instinct. They appear capable of complicated social reasoning and emotional understanding. Scientists have spent decades studying dolphin cognition. Research beginning in the 1970s explored their ability to mimic sounds and behavior, understand artificial language systems, remember symbols, recognize body parts, follow gestures, and even understand human gaze direction. Dolphins consistently demonstrated mental abilities far beyond what most people imagine. Their memory may be one of the most shocking examples. A study from the University of Chicago revealed that bottlenose dolphins could remember the whistles of other dolphins they once lived with, even after being separated for more than 20 years. Every dolphin has a unique whistle that works almost like a personal name. These whistles help them maintain social relationships within their communities. The discovery stunned researchers because it suggested dolphins possess one of the longest social memories ever recorded outside human beings. Imagine remembering the voice of a friend after more than 2 decades apart. That kind of memory points to deep emotional and social intelligence. Dolphins also pass knowledge from one generation to another, something many scientists consider a sign of culture. In Shark Bay, near Western Australia, dolphins were observed placing marine sponges over their snouts while searching for food along the ocean floor. The sponge protected them from sharp objects hidden in the sand. Researchers later realized this behavior was mainly taught from mothers to their offspring. This was not instinct. It was learned behavior passed through teaching. Another fascinating behavior appears in the shallow waters of the Florida Keys. Some dolphins create large clouds of mud shaped like a giant curved wall. Then, they rush through the muddy water to trap fish trying to escape. This hunting method requires timing, coordination, and planning. Elsewhere, dolphins have developed completely different techniques. Along the coastal marshes of South Carolina and Georgia, groups of dolphins work together to force fish towards sandy banks. As the fish panic and leap from the water, the dolphins briefly strand themselves onto the shore to catch them before sliding back into the sea. This behavior is called strand feeding. It looks dangerous, but the dolphins perform it with incredible skill and teamwork. Scientists later discovered similar behaviors in places such as Louisiana, Texas, Ecuador, Baja California, and Australia. Different dolphin communities seem to develop unique local traditions, almost like human cultures developing their own customs and methods. In Mauritania, dolphins even cooperate directly with human fishermen. The dolphins herd schools of fish toward waiting nets near the shore. During the confusion, both the humans and dolphins benefit by catching large amounts of fish. This relationship between humans and dolphins has existed for generations. Another strange and fascinating behavior was observed near Adelaide in South Australia. Wild dolphins there began performing tail walking, where they rise vertically out of the water and move across the surface using powerful tail movements. Scientists believe one dolphin learned the behavior after spending time in a dolphinarium, then passed the skill to other dolphins in the wild. The behavior continued spreading through generations for many years. This again suggested dolphins are capable of social learning and cultural transmission. In Florida, researchers discovered dolphins engaging in what appeared to be self-decoration. Dolphins in Johns Pass carried pieces of seagrass on their bodies, especially when forming new social groups or during mating activities. Scientists believe this behavior may function as a way to attract attention or communicate socially. That means dolphins may not only use tools and language-like systems, but could also engage in symbolic social behavior. The deeper scientists look into dolphin societies, the stranger and more intelligent these animals appear. Their lives are built around communication, cooperation, memory, teaching, emotion, and a social connection. They form close bonds, recognize individuals, teach their young, develop traditions, solve problems, and adapt to new situations. For years, humans underestimated them because dolphins looked playful and harmless. People saw their smiles and assumed simplicity. But the dolphin's face hides a mind that scientists are still struggling to fully understand. The more research continues, the more dolphins challenge human ideas about intelligence itself. So how did AI decipher the dolphin language? Let's dive in. The hidden language. For many years, scientists believed dolphin sounds were simple forms of animal communication. People knew dolphins made noises underwater, but very few understood how deep and complex those sounds truly were. The more researchers studied dolphins, the more shocking the discoveries became. Over time, scientists learned that dolphins mainly produce 3 different kinds of sounds. These are clicks, whistles, and burst pulses. Each sound serves a special purpose in the dolphin world, and together they create one of the most advanced communication systems ever discovered in nature. Clicks are mostly used for echolocation. Dolphins send these sounds through the water, and the echoes bounce back after hitting objects around them. This allows dolphins to build a detailed sound map of the ocean. Even in dark or cloudy water, they can understand the size, shape, distance, and movement of objects nearby. It is almost like seeing with sound instead of eyes. Burst pulses are very different. These are fast streams of clicks, often heard during emotional or social situations. Dolphins use them while playing, fighting, competing, or showing excitement during courtship. These sounds are connected to strong social behavior and communication between members of the group. But the whistles are what truly amazed scientists. The deeper researchers explored dolphin whistles, the more they realized they were listening to something extraordinary. Back in the 1960s, scientists first suggested that every bottlenose dolphin creates its own unique whistle. This whistle works almost like a personal name. At first, the idea sounded unbelievable. Humans believed names belonged only to people, but the evidence slowly became impossible to ignore. Researchers discovered that young dolphin calves do not simply copy the sounds made by their parents. Instead, during the first months of life, they listen carefully to the whistles around them and then create a completely original sound pattern of their own. This special whistle becomes their identity for the rest of their lives. It is not inherited. It is invented. That alone was astonishing. But what scientists discovered next was even more surprising. Dolphins do not only recognize their own whistles, they also learn the whistles of other dolphins and use them to call one another. In other words, dolphins appear to call each other by name. Research involving more than 250 walled bottlenose dolphins in Sarasota Bay, Florida, helped confirm this incredible behavior. Scientists observed what happened when dolphins became separated from members of their group. Instead of making random sounds, the dolphins copied the exact signature whistle of the individual they were trying to find. It was almost like calling out for a specific friend across the ocean. Even more amazing was the response. The dolphin being called usually answered only when it heard its own signature whistle from a familiar dolphin. Random sounds did not receive the same reaction. Unfamiliar whistles were often ignored. The dolphins clearly recognized when someone they knew was calling for them. This revealed something deeply emotional and intelligent, hidden beneath the surface of the sea. Dolphins were not simply making noise. They were identifying individuals, remembering relationships, and communicating socially in highly specific ways. Then scientists uncovered something even more powerful. Recent research published in Science Advances suggested dolphins do more than recognize whistles. When a dolphin hears the signature whistle of another dolphin, it appears to form a mental image of that individual. The sound does not only represent a noise, it represents a specific dolphin with a unique identity, history, and relationship. In a way, the whistle becomes symbolic. It triggers memory. It reminds the dolphin of who that other dolphin is. Humans experience something very similar. When people hear the name of a close friend, they often immediately picture that person's face and remember moments connected to them. Researchers now believe dolphins may experience a related kind of recognition when hearing familiar whistles. This discovery changed how many scientists viewed dolphin intelligence. The whistles are not just signals. They may function as true representational communication tied to memory and identity. And perhaps the most emotional discovery of all involves dolphin memory. Scientists found that dolphins can remember the signature whistles of individuals they once knew for more than 20 years, even without contact during that time. After 2 full decades apart, dolphins still reacted when they heard the whistle of an old companion. That kind of long-term social memory is almost unheard of in the animal world. Imagine hearing the voice of someone you knew many years ago and recognizing them instantly after decades of silence. Dolphins appear capable of doing exactly that. This means their relationships may run far deeper than humans once believed. The ocean is often seen as silent and mysterious, but dolphins are constantly communicating within it. Beneath the waves exists a world filled with recognition, memory, emotion, and social connection. Every whistle may carry meaning far beyond what human ears can fully understand, and this intrigued humans to want to understand them. Stick around. The AI Project. For many years, marine scientists faced one frustrating mystery. They knew dolphins were communicating in complex ways, but they could not fully understand what the animals were saying to each other. Signature whistles were already astonishing because they acted almost like names, but researchers quickly realized that was only one small part of a much larger system. Dolphins produce thousands of other sounds beneath the surface of the ocean. There are clicks arranged in detailed patterns, burst pulses with different rhythms and strengths, and whistles that are clearly important but do not function as signature calls. The deeper scientists listened, the more complicated the sounds became. The problem was not a lack of recordings. The real problem was speed. A few minutes of underwater dolphin audio could take researchers many hours to study by hand. Every sound needed to be separated, labeled, compared, and connected to a specific behavior. The process was painfully slow, and the amount of information became overwhelming. Human ears simply could not keep up. The sounds were too fast, too layered, and too unusual. Dolphins communicated in ways that seemed almost impossible for humans to fully organize and understand. Scientists spent decades trying to uncover patterns hidden inside these underwater conversations, but the sheer amount of data made progress difficult. One research group became especially important in this effort. Since the 1980s, the Wild Dolphin Project has carried out one of the longest underwater dolphin studies in the world. Their work focused on a community of wild Atlantic spotted dolphins living in the Bahamas. Instead of disturbing the animals, researchers studied them naturally in the ocean, observing them on their own terms. Over many generations, scientists collected an enormous amount of underwater video and audio recordings. They carefully connected sounds to individual dolphins, behaviors, relationships, and life histories. This created a rare and valuable collection of information unlike anything else in marine science. Because researchers worked underwater, instead of only watching from boats above the surface, they could directly observe which dolphin produced certain sounds and what was happening during those moments. This allowed scientists to connect communication with real social behavior. Still, even with decades of recordings, the mystery remained. Then, artificial intelligence entered the story. In April of the year 2025, Google joined forces with the Georgia Institute of Technology and the Wild Dolphin Project to create something groundbreaking. The project introduced Dolphin Gemma, the first large language model designed for studying communication in a non-human species. The system was trained using tens of thousands of hours of dolphin recordings gathered over nearly 40 years by Dr. Denise Hertzing and her research team in the Bahamas. But Dolphin Gemma was not built to turn dolphin sounds directly into English words. Its purpose was far more advanced. Artificial intelligence learned the structure of dolphin communication the same way language models study human language. Instead of searching for simple translations, the system looked for patterns, relationships, and repeated sequences hidden inside dolphin sounds. It studied which sounds appeared together. It examined what sounds often came next. It connected vocalizations with behavior in ways humans alone could never process fast enough. Slowly, the system began identifying structures researchers had struggled to notice for decades. For the first time, scientists had a tool powerful enough to explore the hidden complexity of dolphin communication on a massive scale. What once sounded like endless underwater noise was beginning to reveal signs of order, meaning, and connection. And the deeper the artificial intelligence looked into those mysterious sounds, the more one question continued to grow. What if dolphins are communicating in ways far closer to language than humans ever imagined? AI breakthrough. The results shocked even the scientists working on the project. As the year 2025 began, Dolphin Gemma was already uncovering patterns in dolphin communication that human researchers had failed to notice for decades. Sounds that once seemed identical to the human ear were suddenly being separated into completely different categories by artificial intelligence. The system identified more than a dozen unique click variations that humans could barely tell apart before. To ordinary listeners, many of the sounds seemed almost the same, but the AI recognized tiny differences hidden deep inside the recordings. Those differences may carry meaning that researchers never understood until now. And the discoveries did not stop there. Dolphin Gemma also became incredibly good at predicting what sound would come next in a sequence. The model reached an accuracy of more than 74% when guessing upcoming dolphin vocalizations. That may sound technical, but the meaning behind it is enormous. Human language models predict the next word in a sentence by understanding patterns and structure. Dolphin Gemma was beginning to do something similar with dolphin communication. It was not simply memorizing sounds, it was learning how the sounds connected together. That suggested dolphin communication might contain far more structure than scientists once believed. Then came another astonishing moment. The AI started generating completely synthetic dolphin sounds on its own. These sounds were not copied directly from recordings. The system created them after studying years of underwater audio data and learning the hidden structure behind dolphin vocalizations. Some of the sounds were so realistic that researchers were stunned. Dr. Thad Starner, a Google DeepMind research scientist and professor at the Georgia Institute of Technology, explained how surprising this achievement was. For years, producing certain dolphin sounds with regular software had been extremely difficult. Yet, the AI model managed to create complex burst pulse sounds naturally after learning from the data alone. It was as if the system had begun understanding the rhythm and design of dolphin communication by itself. Few people understand the scale of this achievement better than Dr. Denise Hertzing. For more than 40 years, she has studied the same dolphin community in the Bahamas, swimming beside them, recording them, and carefully observing their behavior across generations. Her work became so important that she was named one of the most influential people in artificial intelligence in the year 2025. According to Hertzing, manually sorting through the enormous amount of dolphin data collected over the decades would take human researchers around 150 years. The AI can search for patterns in only a few days. That difference changes everything. For decades, marine scientists struggled because the amount of information was simply too large for humans to process alone. Every recording contained layers of clicks, whistles, and burst pulses happening rapidly beneath the water. Even the most experienced researchers could only analyze tiny portions at a time. Artificial intelligence changed the speed completely. Now, patterns that once remained buried for generations are beginning to appear almost instantly. But perhaps the most fascinating goal is not translation. It is conversation. The researchers are not trying to force dolphins to speak human language. Instead, they hope to create a shared system of communication built between humans and dolphins together. That dream led to the creation of a remarkable underwater device called CHAT, short for Cetacean Hearing Augmentation Telemetry. The system is worn by divers underwater while swimming beside dolphins. Using artificial intelligence, the device can produce synthetic dolphin-like sounds connected to objects dolphins enjoy interacting with, such as seaweed or floating plants like sargassum. The process is surprisingly simple. Two divers swim alongside a dolphin while using the artificial sound connected to a specific object. The object is passed back and forth between the divers and the dolphin. If the dolphin begins copying the sound and connects it with the object, researchers reward the interaction. Slowly, a shared vocabulary may begin forming. Not a human language forced onto dolphins, not dolphins learning English, but a completely new communication system created between two species from the beginning. That idea once sounded impossible. Today, it is already being tested in the ocean. And dolphins are not the only animals attracting attention from artificial intelligence researchers. In May of the year 2024, Scientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Project CETI published major findings involving sperm whales. Using machine learning to study more than 9,000 recordings of Caribbean sperm whales, researchers discovered something extraordinary hidden inside whale communication. The whales communicate using patterns of clicks called codas. At first, the sounds seemed repetitive, but artificial intelligence revealed subtle changes in rhythm, timing, and structure, depending on the situation and the whale involved in the interaction. Some click patterns acted almost like additions attached to stable rhythmic structures. The tempo shifted. Tiny ornaments appeared in the sounds. The communication changed depending on social context. This suggested that whale communication may contain organized structures far more advanced than previously understood. Daniela Roos, director of MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, explained that discoveries like these challenge one of humanity's oldest assumptions. For many years, many experts believed truly complex communication belonged only to humans. Now that belief is being questioned. At the same time, another organization called the Earth Species Project has expanded the search even further. Supported by LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman and the Paul Allen Foundation, the group developed Nature LM Audio, the first large-scale audio language model designed to study communication across many animal species instead of only one. The system studies enormous collections of animal sounds and processes information at speeds impossible for human researchers alone. It can identify species from vocalizations, estimate age and sex, and uncover hidden patterns inside giant bioacoustic databases within minutes instead of months. Researchers are now studying carrion crows, zebra finches, Hawaiian crows, beluga whales, jumping spiders, and many other species. The search for interspecies communication is no longer a distant fantasy discussed only in science fiction stories. It is happening right now. A massive prize worth $500,000 is even being offered for the first major AI-powered breakthrough in communication between humans and another species. The troubling truth. This story becomes far more emotional once scientists begin asking a difficult question. What exactly are dolphins? For many years, humans viewed dolphins as intelligent animals, but still treated them very differently from ourselves. People admired them, studied them, and entertained crowds with them at marine parks. Most never stopped to think about what dolphins might truly experience inside their own minds. But now the discoveries are becoming impossible to ignore. Scientists have learned that dolphins create individual names for themselves. They call out to one another across huge stretches of ocean and wait for specific replies. They recognize familiar voices after more than 20 years apart. They understand patterns, symbols, and structured communication. Some research even suggests they understand uncertainty and can think about what they know and do not know. Different dolphin groups also communicate differently, depending on where they live. Their sounds and behaviors can vary from one pod to another, almost like regional accents in human communities. One group may communicate differently from another group living far away, even if they belong to the same species. Artificial intelligence is now adding even more weight to these discoveries. Systems like Dolphin Gemma are finding patterns in dolphin communication that appear organized, flexible, and connected to social situations. The sounds change depending on context. Certain combinations appear repeatedly. Some structures resemble the building blocks of language itself, and that is where the discomfort begins. Because if dolphins truly possess something close to language, then humans are forced to rethink how these animals have been treated for generations. For decades, dolphins have been kept inside concrete tanks for entertainment. Crowds gathered to watch them perform tricks beneath bright lights, while music played in the background. Many people saw smiling animals putting on a show. But if dolphins possess deep social intelligence, emotional memory, and highly advanced communication, then captivity suddenly feels very different. A tank may not simply hold an animal. It may confine a self-aware being with relationships, memories, emotions, and culture. The same painful questions extend far beyond marine parks. Across the oceans, naval sonar exercises produce intense underwater noise, powerful enough to damage dolphin hearing and even cause serious internal injuries. Massive ships move constantly through waters where dolphins raise their young and search for food. The sounds created by engines and shipping traffic flood the ocean with noise, making communication far more difficult. Imagine trying to hear the voice of your child in the middle of a deafening storm. For dolphins, communication is not a small detail of life. It may be central to survival, social bonds, parenting, and emotional connection. When humans fill the ocean with noise, they may be disrupting an entire hidden world of relationships and conversations. That realization changes the emotional weight of everything scientists are discovering. Dr. Thad Starner, one of the researchers connected to Dolphin Gemma and Google DeepMind, shared an idea that continues to stay in the minds of many people working on this project. He explained that if dolphins truly have language, then they likely also possess culture. That possibility is enormous. Culture means more than communication. It means traditions, learned behavior, shared knowledge, and social identity passed from one generation to another. Scientists already see signs of this in dolphins. Certain hunting techniques exist only in specific regions. Some behaviors are taught by mothers to calves. Unique social customs appear inside particular dolphin communities. If dolphins truly have culture, then scientists must begin asking an even deeper question. What matters to dolphins themselves? Humans simply do not know yet. But for the first time in history, researchers believe they may finally have tools capable of uncovering those answers. For more than 40 years, Dr. Denise Hertzing dedicated her life to studying the same dolphin community in the Bahamas. She swam beside them year after year, learning their behaviors, recording their sounds, and carefully documenting their relationships across generations. For decades, she waited for technology advanced enough to help decode what humans could not fully understand alone. Now, artificial intelligence may finally provide that opportunity. Hertzing described Dolphin Gemma almost like a completely new type of microphone, not a device that simply records sound, but one capable of hearing hidden patterns invisible to human perception. The AI recognizes structures buried inside thousands of hours of underwater communication, revealing connections researchers could never organize manually. In many ways, humans are standing at the edge of something historic. For most of human existence, people believed language separated humanity from the rest of the animal world. Human beings assumed other creatures communicated only through instinct and simple signals. But every new discovery about dolphins weakens that old belief a little more. The ocean may contain conversations humanity has never truly heard before. And now, for the first time, humans may finally be learning how to listen. That possibility is both beautiful and unsettling. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.